Welcome to Pyramid One World Radio Network. You can call in and talk to our hosts by dialing 60547257666, then dial the access code 60860 hash, and you're ready to be part of a worldwide movement to educate everyone listening to these shows. Let's begin dialing.
This is a Pyramid One International Network presentation. Hi, and welcome to Pyramid One Radio. Welcome to A View of Humanity with your host, Jamie Clark. Jamie Clark discovered that he had the gift of psychic intuition and could also communicate messages and feelings between people living and those who have left this physical plane of existence. In other words, he can communicate with those we have loved and lost. Now, with thousands of powerful connections made worldwide and years of experience as his guide, Jamie offers this healing phenomenon to those who need it most. People searching for life direction and guidance, as well as those seeking answers and closure from family and friends that have passed. How does Jamie's mediumship work? Let him tell you. Listen carefully. Triangulation of communication. He says, each of us is like a radio tuner. We have the ability to tune into many different channels. Before I read someone, I tune into our loved one's channel and send out an invitation of communication with you. Our souls are like fingerprints in a way that each of us is unique. Our loved ones know our soul print. And by our invitation and their realization, they now create a triangle of communication. Jamie says, Jamie to them to you, and you to Jamie. They know that Jamie is on and are receptive and will sometimes come early to understand Jamie's rules and regulations and how most effectively to communicate. Now that we are all on the same channel, let's work together as a team. Let me introduce to you, to the world, to the universe, Mr. Jamie Clark. Oh yeah. Jamie Clark.
Yo, baby. Bobby, how you doing, sir?
What's up?
Nada, just having a lot of fun. Just completed my appointments for the day, so I'm ready to have some fun. And I want to get into this. Ladies and gentlemen, I don't believe that you're going to be able to see Kim on video. Doesn't look like it's coming through, so you'll just see Bob and Mai's big head and her lovely picture. So let me just kind of get into this. I want to do an intro. Kim Richardson is a personal chef, mind, body, spirit practitioner, author, and publisher, teaching others how to live in a high vibrational place of peace, love, and joy, and how food plays a role in that happiness. Kim has a real love and passion for food, cooking, and teaching how food plays a role in the mind, body, spirit connection. Through sharing her own personal experiences, she empowers individuals to transform their lives. She helps individuals to heal, forgive, and expand without judgment. Her passion is helping people discover their true gifts and how to use them in the world. Kim teaches with unconditional love, as she hopes it will have a ripple effect in the world. She is the author of High Vibe Eating, a cookbook for your mind, body, and spirit. She is a publisher and co-author of the 52 Weeks of Gratitude Journal and the creator of the 52 Weeks of Gratitude movement. May I introduce Kim Richardson. Kim.
Hi, thanks for having me.
You got it. Thanks for joining us. I think it's going to be a lot of fun, and there's a lot of interesting dynamics to this. What got you started? How long have you been doing this spiritual work in this capacity?
Well, probably I would say, full time in the last 3 or 4 years, but, in the last 10 years, I've been kind of dabbling a little bit here and there, and I just decided that it was time to make it, a full-time, venture, because there's so much that needs to happen in this world, and I have so many things that I get involved in and projects, and I think, okay, well, there's lots of healing that needs to happen, and so that's where I come in, and I get very excited about, like you said in the intro, about food, and I'm very passionate about people connecting that mind, body, spirit piece with that food, because I had such a hard relationship with food, so to speak.
Understandable. And within that, because of the spiritual dynamic with it, this cookbook, how did you receive it? Were you uploaded? Did you channel? Was it a blending? Was it through your own knowledge and experience? How did that come to manifest?
Well, realistically, it just started, I do catering events for other people's retreats, and, I teach some retreats of my own as well, but everybody just said, I want your recipes. So I said, okay, well, I'll put it together in one place and create this cookbook. But just like with everything that I do, it kind of turns into more than just a cookbook. It's more than recipes. It's a teaching tool on how, to change our thought process through the mind, body, spirit connection with our food. So it kind of grew into something a little bit bigger.
Well, and being able to send energy, and everything's energy and frequencies and vibrations and light, but do you use any healing modalities to infuse that food? Healthier thoughts, clearer mind, a beautiful body, what? Is there anything that goes with that, or how does that work for people?
Well, high vibe eating is really a very personal thing, and I teach that it's very different for everyone, and so however they perceive it. For me, it's about creating and cooking everything that I create with love and with joy and with happiness, and then that's the energy that's going into my body. And so I never tell anyone, eat this, don't eat that. You're going to eat what's right for you. I like to teach how to learn to listen to what your body is saying that I need to eat, or and when we want that piece of chocolate cake, we should have it, and we should enjoy it with love and gratitude for all that deliciousness. And so it's just really a different perspective on looking into, how we consume our food, and for sure the energy of which it's created. I always tell everyone, if you don't feel like cooking dinner for your family, then let them get in the pantry and find something for themselves, because it's not going to have the same love. I know when I'm rushed, my food doesn't taste as good.
Now, here's the thing. With that rush energy, does that alter your energy vibe, your state of consciousness, that you get so busy or so much that you aren't as able to infuse energy, or how does that work?
Well, absolutely. I mean, if typically we're all working, kind of the 9 to 5, we get home, we have this family, and we have everybody waiting for dinner. And it's like the dinner is always, in my home, it was always the most chaotic time of the day. It was deciding what to make, making sure we had everything, it was just all these things. And I learned that when I created everything in that way, the life, it wasn't just dinner time. It became every day. It became in the morning. It became throughout the day. It just, like you said, that energy that you continue to encompass and embody, no matter if it's that rushed, hurried energy or that loving, peaceful, calm, high vibe energy. And so that's the choice that I'm going to live in, is I'm going to create everything with love in a high vibe energy, so that it continues to have a trickle effect throughout every single day.
And so if you've been doing this for over the years, have you gotten some feedback from the family? Have you put any parameters to try to work with them to get even more solid validation of how to interact with other people? Because of course each is unique, so you need to be able to communicate, not just talk. But Has the family had any epiphanies, or have they had any major changes in their life experience or the way that they perceive life through some of the dynamics of your creative energy with the food?
Absolutely. I think that number one, the general uh, atmosphere of the family unit is definitely calmer. Um, it's more peaceful. Everyone, understands their role and their responsibility and their own energy. And that's, part of what I like to teach them as well when they're consuming whatever it is they're making their choices. Because I don't tell my family what to eat either. My husband and I eat very different ways. Sometimes there's, I'll have my salad for dinner and he has his, whatever, sloppy joes or whatever he wants to make.
Yeah.
But, that's, if he's eating it and preparing it and, with that energy of love, then the whole evening is just peaceful, and so is the next morning. And so it's super important that it's discussed and everyone takes a role and responsibility into that, what they're creating and consuming, for sure. Not just with food, but everything. I mean, we have a daily practice, with gratitude and kindness and just, all of those components. There's a whole mind, body, spirit piece to it, not just the one puzzle piece of the food.
And bringing that idea up, for me, that I've been doing this my whole life, but I've also realized, as you know, the body-mind connection. And to me, my intent is that anything I ingest in any way is automatically, perfectly assimilated within my beingness. And so for me, I get to eat cakes and ice creams and all the crap and still look good. I'm 54, not looking a day over 53. It's those kinds of high vibes that I think can also assimilate that lower frequency, the third dimension kind of thing, and vibe it even higher. Have you, in doing this for yourself, have you gained any spiritual insight? Have you had any spiritual experiences or gone interdimensional? Has anything like that ever happened with you?
I wouldn't say, I don't, know that I would say that I'm not a psychic like you are. I think we all have intuition, and I certainly can feel, I'm more of so I feel energy, and I connect with, my angels and my loved ones in a different kind of way. I think when we're living in a higher vibrational place, it's easier for all of us to connect to that. So many times in my life, I just had so much chaos and so much trauma that living in that low vibrational space, you're unable to feel the energy around you that's coming. And that's one of the things that I teach. And it is true when we're, I do the same thing. If I want my addiction, I say my addiction, but it's not really an addiction. my guilty pleasure, I should say, are, the ice cream drumsticks. I love ice cream drumsticks. And people look at me like they're going, you're a health coach. How come you're eating this ice cream drumstick? And I'm like, because I am loving this ice cream drumstick. And it's loving me back. I'm not eating it when I'm feeling depressed or sad. I've given up that emotional eating piece because I've healed all those pieces. And I think when you can heal those pieces of what's causing the emotional eating, it no longer sticks on you like it used to. But I definitely can feel that energy connection for sure.
And with that, do you energy read for the people as well, the clients that come to you? Are you able to harmonize just through the tapping in of their energy frequency? Like you'll pick up either, I don't think you do doctor things, but like health issues or mental aspects or anything that you can give them as an intuitive or as a feeler that's able to get that insight to go, holy cow, Kim, that's exactly what's going on. How do you know that? And do you share anything about your abilities with your clients?
Well, absolutely. I mean, that's a big thing to teach everyone, is how to do that on their own. And that's where we're learning to listen to our bodies and listen to our guidance. And I don't pinpoint, like a medical intuitive. I don't go in and say, this is medically what's wrong with you. But I can emotionally, usually just being in someone's presence, I can see the emotional pain that they have, the baggage that they're carrying. And that's when I'm able to kind of peel back those layers ever so gently and help them rediscover who they're meant to be in those pieces. And sometimes, even within myself, I didn't even realize some of the trauma that I had buried. And that's where I'm able to kind of see that and pull it out. And once we heal that, everything in our life changes.
And how much have you been able to help yourself? Have you healed most of the dynamics of what you've learned to live with through your life? Or how's that been working for you?
Oh, absolutely. I think, what started this journey for me was that about 7 years ago, my love of my life at that time had committed suicide. And that just was kind of what I always refer to as like a rock bottom moment in my life. And in that moment, I had been married several times before, and I just had all these relationships that were not really serving me, alcoholics, addicts, different things. And when I lost my mic, it just was such an eye-opening experience. I didn't know what to do. I didn't realize how much I wasn't loving myself, how much I wasn't setting boundaries, how much all of that related to the weight that I was holding on to and not able to release. I was over 200 pounds at one point, and that weight served as protection from all of that chaos. So absolutely, I think once you start to heal those pieces and peel back those layers, for myself, it's been really true, and that's why I'm so passionate about teaching these things, and self-love being the very first piece to our healing, so that we can connect on a higher level.
No longer is it narcissism, but it's self-realization. You cannot give what you do not have. Mm-hmm. And over these years, I've learned to give myself more love, compassion, energy, and attention so that I can give to others. Otherwise, you're just running on empty, going, yes, it's great. And for that, you've got the High Vibe Eating Cookbook, which not only nourishes every aspect of the mind, body, spirit, but you also seem to add into that gratitude aspect. Did you think about something to accompany that with the gratitude? How does that work for you? Can you give us a brief aspect of 52 Weeks Journal?
Yeah, so I think that, I know that when we practice gratitude, it's been true for me that I've lived a life where I was just depressed all the time and was in a blame game, is what I call. Everything was happening to me, and every day it was like, well, there goes another one. That's just my luck. And, and I know that we've all kind of been in a space in that place in our life. And what I realized is that to live in a place of high vibrational peace, love, and joy, gratitude is a key component to that. And after I lost Mike, it kind of became my huge mission in this world to spread love, kindness, and teach people, how to love themselves and to love one another. And so that's where the gratitude book came about, was like, I'm going to put this book together. We're going to bring together 50 like-minded souls that really want to teach how to live in gratitude every day. Because when I could shift that stinking thinking from, instead of, this is happening to me all the time, to life is happening for me, and learning to embrace even the hardest parts of my life and find the gratitude in all those little tiny situations as far as the really big situations. I mean, I'm certainly not grateful that I lost my mic in the way that I did, but I can find the gifts in the lessons, and I have the gratitude for those lessons because that's what's brought me to where I'm at today. So even on the little daily things to the big things, gratitude is important. And so that's why we started the gratitude movement, teaching everyone to bring more gratitude into their lives, change their situation. And I'll tell you, there has been, I can't even count how many people have approached me, messaged me, or emailed me that this book, just changing and shifting their energy, that they were themselves feeling so low that they were about to take their own life, and they were able to shift that energy by shifting their thoughts into gratitude and finding something to be grateful for. And so, even just one life is worth saving, and that's why I do what I do.
And it's going to be your own life first that you're going to save.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, yep, whatever. And I've learned that too. Life's not happening to us, it's happening because of us.
Absolutely.
And those thoughts, that cause and effect. The cause is your thoughts, the effect is your reality you're living. Did you start to work with some of the universal laws? And what I mean by that is, on average, people will have the right intent, but will approach the problem more so than the solution. Meaning, we all want people who love us and we all want abundance. But the average person approaches those more of what they don't want. Meaning, I don't want to be broke. I don't want to be alone. And even though they have the right intent, they keep sending a signal out of broke, alone. It sounds like you might have found that in a capacity of your own experience to go, well, you have the right intent, but now you're expecting that very circumstance to happen, and it keeps happening, I believe.
Mm-hmm, absolutely. So you shift the the thoughts, like you said. So instead of I don't want to be broke, how about I want a life full of abundance? I mean, just changing the perspective of how we feel behind that. And so, the old me would sit there and get the mail and would be like, oh, I've got this handful of bills, and the electric bill, living in Phoenix was $300, $400 a month in the summer, and you're going, oh my gosh, and getting mad and angry about all of those things. And now the new me is, I get that bill and I have that gratitude, thinking, I'm so grateful I'm cool in the summer. I'm so grateful that I have this electricity and this opportunity to stay cool. So, it's really just the small shifts that we make in connection in our mind changes at every cellular level of energy in our body and the energy around us and what we attract.
And I believe in that body-mind connection as well. As you've healthified your beingness, has that given you more healthy vibes of your body? Like, were there aches and pains? Have things adjusted? Or how has that worked for you personally?
Absolutely. I had a ton of different medications that I was on, antidepressants, cholesterol, blood pressure. I mean, I could go on and on. And of course, I would self-medicate during those times of depression with alcohol and different things. And, as my shift in energy changed, I no longer had the desire to drink. I mean, I'll have a beer every now and then, or a glass of wine, but I mean, I used to be a pretty good drinker. So, it doesn't serve me any longer. It doesn't feel like I need to have that in my life. And so, the aches and pains I have all over my body, you heal emotionally and change the way that you're living on a daily basis. And all of those things go away. I have a client that I have an 8-week program, Weight Loss for Life, that we do very intensive behind the mind, body, spirit piece of this. And she started with she's diabetic, and she was kind of new being diagnosed with this. And her A1C, I think, was like 10.5, which, if anybody's diabetic, is extremely high, like very dangerous, very deadly. And I was very afraid for her. And we worked on, together on the mind, body, spirit piece of the connection with our weight. And over the period of 8 weeks, it dropped to a 7.5, which is still not a great number, but that's a 3-point drop. And if she continues to do those things, it's going to continue to drop. So, it really makes a difference on the energy of what the intention that we're putting into ourselves.
Big time. And I think, like I do, my high is to help people help themselves. I'm about the empowerment. And within that capacity, for me, it's helped me to heal myself as well by helping other people. What are some of the biggest success experiences that some of your clients have had? Can you share any of those?
Well, I know there's a lot of people listening that can relate to my story, and so many of my clients, those are the ones that I attract that can kind of have the similar type of story. So, there's lots of stories where, they're dropping not only the weight, because to me the weight is secondary, and I think that's something we focus too much on, is that number on the scale. And so I don't look at, oh, I lost 50 pounds or 100 pounds as a success story. That to me, weight means nothing. It's about what's inside your heart and inside your body. And that's where I like to work on that piece, because the weight just comes out after that. So as far as success stories, tons of people dropping medications, and just like myself, and losing weight without having to really diet and exercise and go to the gym every day, and they're living more joyful, happier lives,
And I think it's all in the way you perceive it, though, all in the way you see it. And that kind of uniqueness of each individual person, I think it's a real skill when you can connect and communicate with others, not just talk to them, but communicate with them. That is a big thing, because most of us are used to being talked to rather than talked with.
Well, and I'm with you when you talk about empowering others to make the changes within themselves, because I'm not going to tell you what to do. I'm going to, guide you, and we're going to peel back your layers, and I'm going to teach you how to create your best life within yourself and empower other people.
Are there any tools or techniques that you give people that they can do on their own? Kind of like that, for me, I give a variety of different things, but also I'll do either gratitude statements or I am statements in a way that they get to be consistent over 10 days. And then they've got a constant pattern of gratitude and that type of a dynamic, all unique statements, each one of the 100 total gratitude statements. And they tend to get a lot of great results. I'm like, hey, you get the credit. I'm just giving you the information. Your choice if you want to use it or not. But to see them use that, put it to the test, get their own validation, go, holy cow, you know what? I was kind of skeptical. And that's why I always say, always, ladies and gentlemen, always be skeptical, question everything, just be open. And within that, I've seen a lot more people able to help themselves. Because to me, nobody needs to be fixed or saved, just showing that power within, self-realized, to begin to live like one and survive it. And I think with that combination of the body, mind, spirit with food and the nourishment of the soul is a big blending. Have you had anyone that's come to you and, they were kind of not sure about what they wanted to do in life, and so they've had a few sessions with you, and then with the eating, the high vibe, and the gratitude statements and any of the other tools and techniques, have they started a business? Have they gotten an amazing idea for a book or for whatever the case is? Has that ever happened in some way for people or yourself?
Well, for most everyone. I mean, for me, it's been huge. The shift has been huge over the years. But I know for many of my clients, the shift is huge in that respect, because, they're changing that energy and allowing more abundance to come into their life. You're getting into more of a creative flow. You're getting just allowing all of those things to come in. So people are happier in their jobs, or they are offered a new job that is their dream job that all of a sudden comes along the way. Even in just practicing gratitude in our gratitude movement group, every week I tell them, tell me what's good that's going on in your life. What miracles are you creating by practicing gratitude? And the list goes on, from very little things to very big things, and it's just beautiful to see. Go ahead. Did you have something?
No, go right ahead. I didn't mean to interrupt. Go right ahead.
Well, in the first part of that, you asked about a tool, and the whole tool is kind of a long one, and we can always do this at a different time. But I'll give you the premise of the tool, because this has been the most powerful thing for me in my healing process. And this was even before Mike, but I didn't really honor it and pay attention to it. So it's I do this little girl or inner child meditation. Okay. And so it can work for men or women, either way. And, if you can connect with that inner child, and the way that I do that, because I'm kind of a visual person, and so I lead people through this guided meditation, but essentially you kind of go on this path to where your inner child is living in your heart space. You imagine them living there. You imagine the house. You imagine sitting in the chair next to them and having a conversation with that child that's sitting in your heart space. And you can ask them questions. you can really see where they're at and check in with them. And most importantly, I had to really offer a lot of forgiveness back and forth, right? And to myself for not treating my inner child the way that I needed to, in the way of protecting her, making her feel safe, and all of these things all these years. And so now it's a tool that I continually use every single day. I check in with her every day. How do you feel? If she doesn't feel good about something, I don't do it. If she doesn't feel safe, I check in with her. She says, I don't feel safe. I don't like this. You know what? I don't go forward and approach with whatever that situation is. And there's just so many things that, we have these thoughts that come into our head during the day. You might make a mistake and go, well, I'm so stupid. Well, you just called that child stupid. Would you ever say that to your own child? And so it taught me to shift my thinking and my patterns that were in my mind of the really negative self-talk. And because I imagined that's what I was saying to my child. And those are things I would never say to her.
See, and I think that's a great technique, because I do that as well, as go back to the younger you. Time travel is actually very real, but going back to the younger you with your awareness of your life experience and all the stuff that you've gotten up to this moment, and share some of that insight with the younger you, not only the way that they could perceive it as a child, that I was a child and I perceive it differently, but also to give them insight from this moment as we perceive it in the future, because everything's relative, but to give that younger you insight, tools and techniques and empowerment to live an even more full, richer, vibrant life. Has that ever happened with you, that the younger you has been communicating with you and giving you some insight from that, young age, that now you as an adult understand what that was or is?
Absolutely. I mean, I can't think of a specific example, but like I said, I check in daily, and there's lessons to be learned. When I sit back and I ask her how she feels or how she felt during those times when I wasn't taking the best care of her, and apologizing for that, and just relying on the fact that I need to treat her the way that I would treat my own children, and so that right there is just a huge awakening, I think.
And I think being able to see that the children can learn from that, they can experience to go, well, mom's taking care of herself, and not only that, she's nice about it. She doesn't feel like she's got an ego and all better. It's like she's realizing that she counts too. Has that helped your children to maybe find themselves a little bit more effectively in life and within of others?
I don't have biological children. That's something that didn't happen for me, but I'm very close with Mike's boys, and for years, we had them in our home, and I still see them all the time now. They're, the oldest is 22, and so they're all grown, and everybody's out of the house now. But I will tell you a funny story. The oldest, one day we're driving, we were going to a hockey game, and kids are our greatest teachers as well. But so he says, he's telling me this really kind of, to me, it wasn't horrific. I don't know if that's the right word, but it wasn't a good story about someone in his school that had gotten a girl pregnant. And then it turns out that this boy that he was talking about, I worked with his mother. So now I'm like, oh, he's like, don't tell the mother. And I'm going, well, you're putting me in a really bad position. We're having this conversation. And he looked at me and he says, Kim, it's not your journey. And I just kind of chuckled, and I looked at him, because that's the thing I say all the time. It's not your journey. And, he was just a great reminder for me that, that situation wasn't my journey. And, they listen all the time.
In your face.
Right.
Got it. And I think being able to take your own medicine, so to speak, with a smile, to go, man, if I'm going to help others, I'm certainly going to make sure I help myself too. I'm not ignorant. I need the healing and insight just like I give with others. That's the point. It's a win-win. And for me, by doing that, I found a lot of empowerment, but also more creative ideas to help myself and other people. Have you gone in a direction to where maybe you're interested in finding even more effective tools and techniques than what you already have to kind of redefine even more, or maybe to blend talents with the gratitude and nourishing the body and the mind and soul?
Well, I think that we're always, all of us should be learning and growing. I mean, life is just a big classroom, and the lessons that it provides us, it's a matter of how we take those lessons and go. And so, I'm not perfect all the time. I mean, I'm human like everyone else. I have my moments, and, but the thing is I'm working on it, and I'm just like everyone else that's working on it. And so it's very important to me that every year I try to attend some big retreat that for myself, so that I can feed my soul and I can learn new techniques and learn new things. And, that's just one avenue. I every single day I'm learning something when it comes to, I love to learn new things, and I search for, TED Talks and YouTube videos and things that will inspire me and help me to grow and offer more to my clients as well. So everyone can do that. And it's just a really great thing to continue to grow.
And have you had the opportunity to do any TED Talks or other presentations, or possibly TV, radio, anything like that?
Well, I've been on quite a few radio shows, and a couple of short TV interviews over the years. TED Talks, I haven't done that yet. I don't know if it's really on my bucket list or not, but it would be nice. Maybe I'm not going to decline it, if it came my way. But I do a lot of big, events and workshops, and a lot of what I do is online, because I realize that, one of the things that hold people back sometimes, and this was true of myself, was getting the help that they needed, was the financial piece of it. And at one time, it was very difficult for me to purchase the plane tickets and pay for the conferences and, pay $5,000 to go away for a weekend. And so I wanted to be able to reach people in a reasonable way. And so I do a lot of my work remote online. So.
And so with the writing and the number of books that you've written, why did you get into the publishing aspect?
Well, one of the things that I had started my venture, actually, another kind of funny story with Living Your Purpose was the first collaborative author book that I was in. And it was right after Mike had passed, like a few months. And my mentor, she says to me, "You are going to be in this book." And I said, "Oh, well, I'm not a writer." In fact, in high school and in college, I didn't get, really good grades in my papers. I just never felt like I was a writer. And, I remember this one specific English teacher in college, and she, put a C on my paper, and there was like no red marks. And I'm going, I want to know what I did wrong. Can you tell? So those seeds were planted that I'm not a writer, and I continued to tell myself that. And so she says, "You're going to write." And I said, "Nope, I don't want to do it." And I gave her all these objections. She gives me the contract, and it was going to be X amount of dollars. And I said, "Well, I don't have the money." So I thought, well, I'm off the hook. I don't have to do this. And she gave me a scholarship to be in the book. And she said, "You're doing it. You don't have a choice." And so I did it. And it was 5 to 7 pages, but I never sweated so much in my life. Being transparent, putting your story for so many people to read. But you know what? I was more afraid of the grammar and the spelling than anything else. And anyway, so that was the start of it. But it was such an experience, and I continued to be in collaborative books. And the opportunity for those collaborative books kind of got few and far between. And I loved the energy of putting together like-minded souls to create a book that would help the world in some way by either sharing a story, creating our movement, like our gratitude movement. Now we have one coming up called Kindness Crusader. We're still looking for authors too for that. But
and may I ask what you do with those get-togethers? Do you have a bunch of presenters? Do you have other dynamics? What goes on at those?
At the weekends.
Yeah, well, retreats that you do, that you present. I thought you said you did retreats.
Yeah, so well, I've done a variety of different retreats, and you know, when I started the Weight Loss for Life program, we started it as an all-encompassing. We start with the retreat, and then we do a follow-up of 8-week coaching and classes throughout that time frame. And you know, then I've done like my high vibe cooking. I do a lot of cooking retreats to where we learn to live in a place of high vibrational peace, love, and joy, and how, you know, we can cook and meal prep and meal plan so that it's not stressful and dinner time isn't chaotic every day. And the family piece to that as well. I think that's so important because, you know, I remember when all the kids were in the house, that really was the biggest challenge for me, was dinner, getting off of work and getting that dinner going. So, you know, healing those things as well. But lots of different types of classes that way and workshops.
I think when you can give them a great atmosphere and a way to just get into their own energy for any length of time is huge, because exactly like you do and a lot of us do, family's it, man. You will do what it takes and be of service all the time unconditionally. It's family. Mm-hmm. But sometimes you get so good at living and being good for others, you forget about yourself. And then people don't know how to help the one who helps everyone else. They'll offer, you know, Kim, if there's anything I can do, I'm here for you. And they mean it. They just don't know how to help you. So I think, you know, you like me is don't be a hypocrite. If I'm going to help others, I'm certainly going to help myself.
And they may not be able to tell, you know, you may not be able to tell them how to help you.
Well, and that's the point. But it's that self-discovery that I'm always open for other perspectives. Doesn't mean I accept them all, but I have a whole wide spectrum of different aspects. And this might work for me along with a blending of this. Perfect. Because to me, it doesn't have to be all or nothing. I want the sectionalized uniqueness of who I am. So why would I not be unique with anything else that I'm doing? I'd tailor make it to my soul. Mm-hmm. Has there been other dynamics where people have gotten into chefery, like they've become a chef because of your cooking?
I don't think so. I haven't heard that one before, but I will tell you that there's people that come to me in these retreats and they say, I hate cooking. I hate planning it. I hate shopping. I hate everything about it. I hate thinking about what's for dinner. And by the time we leave the retreat, they say, you know, this was really enjoyable. This was fun. The way that we did this, the way that we put it together, it's not stressful like how I've been doing it, and it doesn't have to be stressful. So there's those kinds of awakenings. But I haven't heard anybody going to be a you know, professional chef on that respect.
Well, and with those aspects, do you do any natural herbs or herbal remedies that can help people with either their body, the way that they process food? Have you ever thought about something, or do you do something like that for people?
I teach about how food itself can heal the body. And, you know, when we are working on the mind, body, spirit piece, and the body being the food that we're eating, you know, those kinds of things. And so it's interesting because we always say don't talk about sex, politics, and religion, right? Because those are 3 controversial topics. But I'll tell you what, food is really kind of getting up there in those top controversial subjects. And so, yeah. So while this isn't planning the hardest part of cooking, yeah, that is, you know, for sure, the planning is the hardest part. And, you know, every week I'm looking at my husband going, what do you want for dinner this week? Because I'm going to the store one time. I don't go to the store every day. And so we'll either have it or we won't.
You better get it right, boy.
And if it's not in the refrigerator, forget it.
Yeah, really. But in doing that, do you have any regrets? Is there anything that you would approach differently in your life?
You know, if you would have asked me that question 10 years ago, I would have given you a huge long list of regrets. And during that time frame, I didn't even have some of the things, the hardest things that I had went through. But now in the mind frame that I'm in, I don't have a single regret. Because I know that everything happens for a reason, and I know that there's a lesson in everything, and I was supposed to go through, each and every piece and part of my life to be able to learn and grow and be where I'm supposed to be and find my purpose in that. So there's a lot of gifts in a lot of those lessons for sure.
And sometimes that's the dynamic is we're used to the same old pattern. In this case, we all got to eat, we all got to stay alive and do this, and that's always been there. But to add the intent, the spiritual aspect to the very same thing that we've always been, kind of like all the spiritual knowledge, same old stuff, just in an updated way. But that kind of a capacity is those years of growth. And just like you're sharing, you know what? I've come into this, and after these years, I've learned to heal myself and to feel and see things differently just from that life experience. That's what I'm talking about, going back to a younger you and sharing that kind of insight.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. I mean, when you go back, we all sit there sometimes. I think, gosh, if I could just tell my younger self X, Y, and Z, right? And, one of the healing things that I like to do or activities is, kind of in a journaling situation, but just write your younger self a letter. What is it that you would tell her or him? And, go from there and give yourself a pat on the back because you're doing a pretty darn good job.
And I think when you can harmonize that energy vibe where you're able to start understanding things for what they are, because, to me, it's not easy to go, oh yeah, be happy, it's all cause and effect, and it's all going to work. Yeah, but it's not easy when you're going through crap to go, oh, sure. I think that that's a big dynamic, is to be able to accept your entire life experience as a learning experience. And as we're always growth-seeking beings, no matter how many dreams and aspirations in life we have, once we attain them, we have more. That kind of an effortless growth, to me, is natural. And when you can build upon your own dynamics, for me, watching my whole family graduate every 2 years from cancer tore my soul, man. That's what got me to do this professionally. I've been doing it my whole life and studied with my mom for 20 years. Amazing. But it took for me to feel helpless and out of it in order to start first helping myself and then being able to help others. Did your parents understand some of what you were going through?
Well, part of the trauma in growing up, my dad was very abusive, and so he's not in my life. I'm in my 40s-ish, mid-40s, and I haven't seen him since I was in my early 20s, and before that was years prior. I mean, not close with him. It was one of those things that, we family is blood, or all these kind of things we have to hold. These were pieces that were necessary to let go, and so he added a lot of chaos and trauma, and my mom, she's, I think, still healing from that trauma, and rightfully so. I mean, it was horrific what she went through with him. So, she understands. I know that, she's proud of the healing work that I've done. And, I'm always trying to pass tools and techniques on to her to say, if you do these steps, things might feel lighter and freer and easier. But everyone, it has to walk the walk and do the work in order to make that happen.
And does she use some of the tools and techniques that you share?
Sometimes.
And any benefits from it?
She does. My mom, I love her dearly. Another funny story that pops into my head. Years ago when I kind of started really having these discoveries and aha moments, like, oh, I can have this life, and oh, I can feel this good, and it was around, I discovered The Secret. Everyone's heard of the book, The Secret, the movie, whatever. And so I sent her the movie, and every week, did you watch the movie? Did you watch the movie? And she kept, no. Finally, she emailed me, and she says, I watched this movie. It's so long, and all this positive thinking is giving me a headache. So I find that, humorous, but it's at the same time, accepting her for where she's at, understanding that she's doing the best she can in the tools and the places that she has right now. And where, if she's, to me, we're all where we want to be. And even though you sit here, and I know I've been in places where I think, I don't want to be here, but I didn't know how to make the changes. And once those changes or those opportunities for change came to me, we have two choices. We can either make the changes and create something different, or we can stay in the same. And unfortunately, what I find, and I was in this space for a long time, but for a lot of people, change is difficult. And so that change is scary. The unknown is scary. And sometimes we like being in our own stuff because it's comfortable. That's what we've known our whole life. And so, you have to be really ready and willing to pick that other road.
And I think that we all want to leave a legacy in some way if we're able to. Is there anything, how would you like to be remembered?
I think that most thing that I would hope that everyone would remember about me is just my loving and kind ways. That I'm gentle and loving and kind with everyone that I meet. There is no judgment. There's nothing but unconditional love. And I find that people really feel that when I work with them, and not even just work with them, everywhere that I go. And so, I created a clothing line, High Vibe Wear, and it's all these fun different designs, but mostly so that I could be reminded. Like I have things that say gratitude, warrior, kindness, crusader, love wins, because when I wear that clothing, it really keeps me responsible in that place of loving and kind energy, because we're all human, and there's times I'm out into the real world and somebody might cut me off or, cut in front of you in the line at the grocery store. I mean, we all have those days and those, those things that might really get you a little upset, right? Yeah. And when I'm wearing something that says kindness crusader, I can't very well give them a dirty look, right? I have to stay centered in kindness.
I'll do it with kindness and love.
That's right.
Now, you also help people starting small businesses in new directions. How does that work? What do you do with people for those? It sounds like you have a whole package deal of the whole spectrum in a beautiful way. That's awesome.
Well, when you talk about getting, inspired and the energy and all these things that come to you kind of downloaded. And so I'm a very tech person. I wouldn't say very, but I like to learn, okay? And, well, here's ironic. My camera doesn't work for the show. I can't get that to figure out. But, anyway, I love learning new things and new ways that, when I started my business, it was a struggle. And I know there's a lot of people that are into a spiritual business or want the desire to get into it. But, the financial piece is holding them back because we've got to pay money for, our email subscription list and, all these different components to run a small business, websites, and how do we build a website. And those are things I'm kind of good at. So it just became like helping one person and then another. And now I'm working on some online courses so that everyone has the affordable help that they need. Because one of the things I had to do was really research. It was like, wow, I want to be able to do this in my business, but this is going to cost thousands of dollars. So I thought, well, I don't have thousands of dollars when I'm just starting out years ago, and I said, I got to figure out how to do this for free or very low cost. And so I found all those ways, and those are the things that I like to share with people in my courses and different things. So it just became with helping somebody, and it's kind of grown from there.
Start from one person. And you see so many of these movies, these shows nowadays where they all have superpowers. If you were allowed to have one superpower, what would you want?
I think the most important thing to me would be able to let people see the beauty that's inside of them that I see. Because when they can see that beauty and that love that's really inside of them, it vibrates onto a whole nother level, and it passes from one person to another, and we'd have a ripple effect of love in this world, and that would just be the most beautiful superpower I think ever.
And in doing that, Have you seen maybe some of your clients, a mother or father figure, whoever it might be, that takes your course, starts working with those new vibes, and then the entire family starts to get into that too?
Oh, it totally changes. I know as my vibration has, been rising over the years, and I say rising because it's continuing to rise. Some people fall off, meaning, there's people that come into our life for a reason, a season, or a lifetime. Not everyone's meant to be there forever. Those people serve their purpose and their lessons and their things. But the family dynamic, again, for me, some of them dropped off. And that was okay. But, the family dynamic in your household, in your space, when you work on yourself, okay, and this is another thing. I've had a lot of clients come to me that say, I have a horrible marriage. It's not loving, it's not kind, it's not gentle, it's not all these things. And so we shift the thoughts and the patterns, but the best advice I can give anyone is that you can't change or control anyone else but yourself. And so when you can work on, if something's not going right, I'm never going to say, go get a divorce, it's not working out, I would never say that. What I'm going to tell you is to work on yourself. And most of the time, you'll find that everyone around you, that vibration changes in how you're treating yourself. You're showing other people how to treat you. And so when we're treating ourselves better, they start treating us better. Their vibration raises, and it's just a win-win for everyone.
And so how can people get a hold of you?
Well, email is the easiest way. I have kind of a long email because my last name is long, but it's kim.richardson@kimrichardson.kim. I know, right?
That's unique. That's
Facebook is easy. I'm always on Facebook. You can find me in my business page, personal page, and message me, Kim Richardson. It's easy. I've got my profile picture with my word of the year. This year is fearless, and you'll find me there. But those are the two easiest ways for sure.
Do you have a website?
Yes, kimrichardson.kim, not .com. So
interesting. I didn't even know that was possible.
Me neither. Who knew, right?
Yeah, well, that's cool. So, ladies and gentlemen, there's another tool and technique, man. I can get your own unique name in that lock-in. That's beautiful.
There's pros and cons to that, I will tell you, because most people are used to .com. So when they look for kimrichardson.com, you're not going to find me. So that is a challenge. But, my name is common, and there's a lot of Kim Richardsons out there. So I was grateful to have kimrichardson.kim.
Yeah, there's
Name's
also
common, but you don't have .com. That's pretty bad.
Yeah, there's also on the chat room. We got some really good recipes. Like people have been picking them apart. Let me see, chicken tortelli soup.
Oh, the chicken tortellini soup. Okay.
Yeah, and peach sauce. Oh man,
that sounds
good.
Oh yeah, that's stuff I'm in love with. For sure.
Beautiful.
Well, in the book, I like to talk about because when I am hosting a retreat and catering for a group of people, there's dynamics of food allergies, gluten-free, dairy-free. I mean, there's a whole slew of different things. So in the cookbook, I kind of talk about how you can take that recipe and just by small changes make it to meet your needs too. So.
Nice. Now, do you have any projects, any other things that you're doing now?
Well, we are working on The Kindness Crusader, which is our next collaborative book, and we hope to launch on World Kindness Day, which is November 11th, and so we're recruiting authors for that. So you can go to my website, click on Call to Authors for the information for that. That's a huge project we've got going on. And then my next 8-week Weight Loss for Life program, 8 weeks of coaching and courses and things that we do together, it starts on July 8th, I think. So you can also find that on my website as well.
Excellent. I appreciate everything that you do for others. And, like I do, when this is not only what you do, but who you are, that's the passion. That's what people will vibe with and connect.
I appreciate you, Jamie, and Bob, you as well. Thank you for having me join you today. And I always love being around you, Jamie. You're so much fun.
Awesome. Well, thanks. And this is just the beginning. So hang on, because it's going to get better.
Oh yeah, it's definitely going to get better. I'm telling you, right? Seriously, over the last month, the people that we've had as guests, my mail went. It was like, what kind of guest today? Well, did you like them? Yeah. So hey,
Well, and you're spreading out. You have such a wide variety of guests, Bob, and you're excellent because you can work with them all, man. There's no limit. I always appreciate that versatility.
we're going to be in the next 2 weeks. We're going to be working on. We have things coming out right now about 5G and some vaccine stuff that you see in the news net all the time. Well, I've got experts in 2 continents that are going to be on here, plus doctors. So we're. Let me see now. Not this Wednesday, but next Wednesday, we're going to do part of it, and then they're right in between you, every other Wednesday,
Awesome.
and that's what we're doing it. So I mean, it takes some time or two to pull everybody together in that. So it's going to be one of those unbelievable things that you're going to want to watch a few times.
You know, and that's the point. You move from conspiracy nut to, oh, there's some stuff to this, which is really, you know, because Bob, you and I talk a lot with that and the different dynamics, but it's really nice when we can share this and bring it to the mass consciousness, and not just on this land, but, you know, in a variety of other countries. I think that's huge.
You're right on point. You know, it's the consciousness, the worldwide consciousness. If we can get that sparked, forget about it. You know, maybe all of a sudden people will, get it, in a sense. They'll turn around and something up the stairs will go, oh, is that what they meant?
And more people are doing that. I see that.
You probably see it more than anybody. Yeah.
Yeah, it's beautiful. You know, and it's nice because I kind of have a little bit of a gauge on, humanity and the pulsation and where, as a mass consciousness, we're at and kind of where we're heading. And it's really good to see that these dynamics are changing. And of course, sometimes it gets worse before it gets better. But the vibe is starting to raise as a consciousness of the planet. Mm-hmm. And then that tipping point, 51%, people are like, oh, just like you said, Bob, I get it now.
That's what it is, yeah. Yeah.
That's beautiful.
So we're going to be, we got a lot of stuff too. And when I was talking about 5G, there's going to be stuff that's going to be coming out on the show that nobody's heard. Nobody's heard about. Well, the things that companies are not telling you. Whoa. And this is by military people that actually know. This is no baloney.
Right. For you to get them as guests on is pretty powerful.
Doing some homework.
Yeah, exactly. Well, you got the versatility. That's given them a lot to think about. So I appreciate you as well, Bobby.
Been a great show. Thank you very much from my heart.
Ladies and gentlemen, love you. We'll see you in a couple of weeks.
And ladies and gentlemen, this has been Jamie Clark on View of Humanity, right here on Pyramid One Radio. Thank you, world.